Welcome to IMAGI-NATION TV, week 18, episode 83, featuring thinkers on the theme of hard work and discipline. My name is Zach Haddock. I won at Warragul Regional College, and I'm in year 11. So the theme of hard work / discipline means that, to me, I suppose, it means that thinking about what you get is what you give, I suppose. So putting in hard work and putting in all of this time and effort into something usually will mean that whatever you're trying to accomplish will give you what you need. And just doing not really giving it a go and not really giving it your all will sometimes mean that you're not going to succeed in that, and you're not going to do what you need to do to get the job done, I suppose. It's incredibly important that if you need something to be done, you need to get at it, have a good crack, and you need to do hard work, and you need to have the discipline to be able to manage your own time, to be able to put that hard work in. So today I am hosting, which is so awesome. Last time I was on here, I was co-hosting, and I had a lot of fun with that. And today, out of hosting, I really hope that I'll be able to get a lot better leadership-wise. I hope that I get better skills out of this, and I hope that eventually, while continuing to do this, I'll be getting a lot better every single time that I do it. And yeah, that's all for me. So I'm going to introduce my co-host, Bobby.
Thanks for that intro, Zach. Last week's show, we had some musicians on, we had some artists on. It was fantastic. And today we have an incredible panel today. I won't say their names, we'll let them introduce themselves. But we'll hear from them shortly. Apparently I'm supposed to be taking the 60-second challenge. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah, it is, Bobby. You're taking the 60-second challenge. Are you ready?
Yep, let's go.
Okay. So, are we ready with the timer?
Well, yeah, let's roll.
Nice. So, what is your idea of perfect happiness?
Perfect happiness is everything that I had before we gone into COVID-19. The things we take for granted, that we took for granted then, right now we miss. Just being able to go and sit in a restaurant, or go and shoot a basketball or kick a footy. Those are the things that I want back.
What is the best question you've ever been asked?
The best question I've ever been asked. How? Whatever I do, how you do that. So
nice.
Yeah, how?
Nice. What is your most treasured possession?
Treasured possession, excluding family, would be a lot of my memorabilia that I've achieved in sport. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank you.
No problem. So we've got a live audience at the moment. I do believe that we are taking questions from them. So if anyone wants to post any questions, you are absolutely able to do that, and we would love to hear from you. I've got some questions for the panel. I would like to introduce Rick, Alan, and Shellie. So Rick, since you were the first, I would like you to tell me about yourself.
The first thing about talking about yourself is to unmute.
Yeah. Usually goes in the 101 manual, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm a music manager. I've been managing bands and artists for 20 years now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm originally from Melbourne, and I studied law. I left the law to make little stars that stick on your ceiling, and they glow in the dark, and you sleep under the stars.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then I got really interested in education. Went up to Queensland and Long story short, worked with a school where the kids were all encouraged to find what was innate for them. 4 of the boys started a band, and I started managing them 20 years ago. So that's how I got into it.
Well, that's really cool. I've decided recently that I want to become a teacher, so it's really good to kind of see that like other people also choosing to become a teacher and work in schools and all that. So that's really cool.
Teachers are the most important people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've also heard that they have holidays, which is very interesting.
That's
definitely a big draw for that too. So next on the show, I would also like to introduce Shellie. Shellie, are you there?
Hi. I didn't listen to your unmute story, Rick. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Shellie Morris. I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been able to sing around the world a few times, and very fortunate and blessed. I sing in 19 Aboriginal languages from the Northern Territory, and I've learnt to do that. And I've won lots of awards, and yeah, that's me. And I'm still doing it.
That is really cool. So you studied all of these Indigenous languages, and like you know how to. Like, do you ever get confused between the two? Well, the 19, is that correct?
Well, when I say study, it's sitting on the ground in a remote community and learning on the ground. I do get confused if I go from one language group to the other, say from one week to the next. I will still be talking in the other language when I arrived in the new language group. But no, I mean, yeah, it was just part of good manners and respect, really, and learning the language of the area that I was in. And I'm fortunate enough to be around fluent language speakers and working with children and working with the adults in music.
Yeah. So I heard that you made, like, you're a songwriter. Do you have a specific favorite, or do you have one that you're really proud of that you're working on at the moment?
Look, I think if everything I do, I feel proud of, even though it might never be released. I suppose when it comes to production values and the things that I call precious, my last single called Footsteps, I'm really proud of. It's in my grandmother's language in the chorus, and then it has a very famous songman from Northeast Arnhem Land, Jakapura Munyariun. And it really is about the pace of the world and how we need to slow it down a bit. And obviously through COVID we have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. And even though like apparently none of them are out now, I do believe that like give it enough time, someone will definitely want to invest in that. And I do believe that someone will definitely find that to be, like, if it was released to Spotify, I imagine that you'd have tons and tons of downloads. Let's just say that. And that's probably something incredibly Zoomer of me to say. But I'm sure that, like, there are people in the world that would absolutely love your music. And I'm sure that, like, you probably think that, but it's incredibly important to, like, remind you that you are a songwriter. And I believe that there are people who will love your music. In fact, if I listened to it, I would love it. And I know that.
Thanks, Zach.
No problem. And what is your advice for young people who want to like get into a career of music by chance, Shellie? Sorry to put you in and out of mic again. Sorry.
Look, it's just to never ever give up. I never gave up. I still don't really fit in a genre. I haven't done anything that would anything but remain true to myself. When I first started doing the language and being an Aboriginal woman, there wasn't much when I first started, but I'm still going. And
Yeah.
I have a full-time career in music. I work in the communities. My career is my own, and I'm incredibly proud of that, that I've remained true to my mandate and my heart. And I think as long as you do that, and never give up. No one can take that away.
Yeah. So in other words, a lot of hard work and dedication then, which is quite a coincidence.
Well, I'm obviously from the Northern Territory, and they call me the hardest working musician in the Northern Territory. But I've moved to Brisbane recently. I'm not there now. I'm back in the NT, but they're now calling me the hardest working musician in Brisbane. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah.
And that's all my musicians.
I would be too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. It's been nice It's been nice to be able to talk to you. And then next on the show, we also have Alan. Alan, are you there?
Yeah, g'day, hi. Thanks for having me, Zach and Bobby. And I'm in Singapore, but can I just begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land from which everyone else is dialing in today, and pay my respects to the elders past and present. So to intro myself, like Rick, I was also legally trained, but I've worked in public policy for a while. First with the Attorney General's Department in Canberra, and then with the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. I'm currently based in Singapore, where I work with an organization called the Open Government Partnership, and that's an international organization that makes governments more inclusive, responsive, and accountable. So we bring together people from inside and outside of government, connect them with donor and technical assistance, and help them make change wherever they're based. I'm also, I serve on the board of some community organisations, Oxfam Australia, which is an international development organisation, and Democracy and Colour, which is a racial justice organisation led by people of colour.
That sounds really awesome. Not even gonna lie. That sounds possibly like one of the most important jobs I have ever heard. And I get to say that because I'm a student. That is really cool. Like all of that, like justice and like law school. So it's a lot of law I'm hearing, a lot of law.
Yeah, it is. It's been interesting because I think Rick and I probably both have our own pathways in and out of the like legal practice. But it was one of the more interesting decisions, I think, because you do this training that's 5 years and that has you really acculturated to with the expectation that you're going to practice in corporate law, which I think for a lot of these established law schools is very much the end goal. And to remember exactly, I think, why you started studying law in the first place and what questions drove you to think about, to have the opportunity to interrogate what fairness means and, what incentives and sanctions we need to put in place to make a stronger and fairer society. I think those are the questions that motivated me. And when you come up to the end of your legal training, they're the ones that you need to rediscover because they're the ones that are really going to motivate you over the longer term. So we've, as I said, like we're both legally trained, but it seems as if we've both not really practiced at least corporate law for quite some time.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of, once again, it's a lot of hard work and dedication. Very coincidental how that thing fits into everything, but like it's a lot of like reminding yourself as to why you're here and like constantly reminding yourself the questions that you asked in the first place that got you there, and then like kind of like working towards figuring that out, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think it's I think if you choose something that really energizes you and motivates you and animates you, then it probably doesn't feel as much like hard work, and so it's a bit easier to really pursue. And so I think it's probably a common thread through many of our stories is that if you remember what those motivations are, it's going to make the road ahead a lot easier.
Yeah. We also got a question that came in. Alan, what are the questions that led you to where you are now?
Yeah, so I mean, I had a tough time, I guess, at uni in particular. I mean, I moved from Brisbane to Melbourne to study. And I think, there was a period where the adjustment of moving was much harder than I really expected. And then I came out to my parents, which was a tough time. And I'd really previously done very well academically. And there was just a year or two where I just I failed everything. And, where the university started taking steps to unenroll me because I wasn't making any progress on my studies. So, and I think that experience really motivated me to take a look at why I was studying in the first place and what had driven me to law. And, you know, there is a sense, I think, with a lot of people who do law that you do it for the marks because you've gotten good marks and you've gotten into it, and, you know, it might be something useful that you can pursue at a later time. But I think for me, there was underlying that a sense of, you know, what is fairness and justice, and how do we make our societies fairer and stronger and more inclusive and participatory? And that was sort of informed by my own experience. And so those questions, I think, especially towards the end of my legal study, when I was looking at further steps, they were the ones that motivated me not to go into corporate law at all, but to work in government, because having had some exposure to the operations of that, we were asking questions that around not what the law is, but what the law should be. And that was just a more interesting inquiry for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I don't want to sound like cheesy or anything, but a while ago I was thinking, like, is what we have as the legal system, is that justice, or is it like what's defined by us and what our idea is the like black and white, what's right and what's wrong, shiftable and dependable upon like what we value today. So yeah, like definitely very intriguing questions. I also am very, very sorry. I think my internet's a bit bad. It just kind of cut out a little bit, and I'm very sorry if like my computer made any sounds that interrupted you, or if I popped in and out or something.
No.
Yeah, very sorry about that. So now that we've got introductions, we all know each other, which is fantastic. I would like to ask you one by one what hard work and discipline mean in your line of work. So I'm going to start with you, Alan. What does hard work and dedication mean for you? And I can already see that it is a vital part of your work.
No, I mean, I think my reflections are pretty much we've touched on, and that, you know, like if you choose something that an area of work that animates you and that energizes you and that makes you feel like you're making a contribution, then I think that's going to be a lot easier. And so that would be my advice, I think, is to really reflect on your personal motivations. I mean, I think, or the other part of that is that, you know, there will be times where you won't particularly feel motivated. And there, especially when I was doing essays, I was like, oh, I'm just going to wait for motivation to strike. And I think at a certain point, you have to accept that the motivation isn't necessarily something that sort of you fall into, but rather that you have to create by just getting started on something. And so when I've got a big task in front of me and it's tough and it's not something that I want to do, but one that I know, and a task that I know that I need to do, often the best thing to do is not to wait for motivation to strike, but rather just to get started.
Yeah. So like a way of thinking it is like jump starting a battery, I suppose. Like it doesn't come from nothing. You have to give that kick and then it rolls down, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, as I said, like where you have to do that, if you find a job where you have to do that less and less, then you're going to find yourself in a happier place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I'm going to move on to Shellie. What does hard work and discipline mean for your line of work?
Hard work it's made up of a few things, I think. And one is not to make it never be arrogant in my line of work. Always remain humble. Now, you might think, how does that relate to hard work and discipline?
Well, it's the discipline to kind of reel you in, right? Yeah.
Yes. So some of the traps which cause you to become a little less hardworking is the self-importance part of my line of work. And so I always, within those accepting of a lot of things that others might not think, oh, well, what will that do for your career? Which causes me to be an incredibly hard worker. In other words, the career in people's mind is that singing in all this language, where's that going to get you? Or in mainstream music? Well, no, I'm doing that, and that's what I want to do. Hard work and discipline, of course, is practice. We all know that. Study. I was opera trained as a singer. I play bass, piano, guitar, drums. It's always keeping up those skills, and that's part of the hard work and discipline, part of the discipline. But part of the hard work for me, and I'll never forget where I came from, because where I came from, they said, oh, it's a bit late to start a music career, and it's a bit, you know, and I thought, no, it's not. So maybe I had to work doubly hard, and I still work doubly hard today, and especially being a woman, an Indigenous woman, it does not necessarily have its setbacks, because I don't call them setbacks. I call them challenges. So
Yeah.
one is, and as Alan said, you got to find your fire, you got to find your passion. And when you find that fire and that passion, you just run with it, and life becomes such a great joy with all that you do. Thanks.
No problem. I find it really cool how like you see that not only as, it's not just a challenge, but it's almost like a difficulty tweak, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, like having that there, but like still working as hard as you can, and still doing, like, I can't even imagine what it must be like having to like remember all of the different sets with like drums and then guitars, and I'm trying to learn guitar and I find it incredibly difficult. I only know 2 songs and that's all I can do. So yeah, like that's really cool that like you can be able to do that. And Rick, we're going up to down, down to up. Rick, what does hard work and discipline mean for you?
Oh, wow. Hard work and discipline. Hard work gets a bad rap because it shouldn't be so hard.
Yeah.
I think if you love what you do, you know what your purpose is, it's something which it just happens naturally. It's not a like, okay, I'm going to work hard today. You know, it's not that. It's got to be gentle. You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on young people, on everybody, not just young people. We've got to achieve so much. We have to get these goals. We've got to, you know, be successful, and that can cause a lot of stress. You know, that can cause a lot of stress on anybody. So I think it's important to know who you are and what's important to you and what's your meaning. You know, what's your meaning in life, and then you go towards your goals with a certain relaxation. You know, you're working hard, but you're just doing what you do because you know where you're going, and it's just a natural thing. I think I'd really encourage everybody to find your own self-motivation, what drives you, not be driven from the outside. You know, you're young, so you need a bit of a direction to move into that place, but always think about is this my life? What's it about?
Yeah. So it's like you got to figure out what you want to achieve in your life, and then like just slowly and surely make the like change to be able to do that. Once
you know where you're going, you know, if I'm going to Sydney, I just take one step at a time until I'm there, right? Yeah,
that's really cool. So I've got another question coming in. Rick, how have you overcome setbacks and continued to find the motivation and discipline even when things get tough?
Well, you know, it's a good question. I had a crossroad in my life. I had a pretty successful business, and I was living in Brisbane at the time, and I had a beautiful house. And I started managing bands just before that. And a terrible thing happened to my business. There was this a recall, Pan Pharmaceutical. It was the biggest recall in Australian history. We had the herbal medicine products. A major product was, believe it or not, a menopause product. And Yvonne Goolgonkoli was she was the lady on the packet who did the advertising, etc. But it destroyed the business, and I had a choice where I could keep the house, which most sane people would do, go get a job. But I wanted to manage this band. I found myself in this band management place in the early 2000s. And I went for a long walk by the river in Brisbane, and I just thought to myself, what's important in my life? You know, I'm not going to live forever. Do I want to just do things for, you know, other people's sort of reasons, or what's important to me? So for me, that was a very important moment. I had a massive setback, had to make some important decisions. And again, go back to what's your life about? What's important to you? You know, what, you know, at the end of your life, what will you go, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. That was good.
Yeah.
That's it, Zach.
Yeah. So it's like the memory of you choosing that, and then like you're really proud that you chose that, I suppose.
Totally. You got to be yourself.
Yeah. Now we are a little bit pressed for time. I am hoping I'd be able to ask Shellie and Alan the same question. Are you two okay with that, Shellie and Alan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah? Awesome. Yeah. So Shellie, when have you been set back in your life, and where have you required like hard work and discipline to get yourself back up?
Look, I can't even count the many setbacks really, because there's been so many. Life throws at us. You're right. Life throws at us many different curveballs, but I always get back up, and that's the key. Especially with mental health, I've suffered a lot with depression and anxiety, a low self-esteem. My self-worth was really low from when I was a young child, but I kept getting back up, and I sought the help that I needed to help me understand a little bit more about myself. And then I started to, you know, set achievable goals.
Yeah.
And then out of those smaller steps, and then the steps seem to get, I suppose, in the music industry, of huge steps, but for me it was a series of many small steps that got me to that place. And during all that time, working through mental health issues, also working through a country that's still predominantly quite racist towards Aboriginal people, and working through the issues of family dying, the poverty, because I'm seeing it firsthand when I'm working in remote communities. So yes, there's been so many setbacks, but now I look at them as being victories, because they then helped me step in another direction, or help me get back up to be stronger again. And that's the main thing, is just to really stay focused, and no matter what life throws at us, is just to get back up, because we need you.
Yeah, so it's like always, like once you get hit back down, you always get back up, and eventually, like they're just going to get tired of hitting you back down again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm sorry, I am going to have to go, because I've got to drive 400 kilometres on a dirt road, so I've got to get out there before dark, and I don't want to hit a buffalo.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you.
Well, it's been lovely having you on the show, and I hope you have a safe trip.
I will. Thank you so much. Lovely to talk. Lovely to see you, Rick, Alan, and Bobby. Thanks, Aim. Bye.
See ya. Now, last one, Alan, I am hoping I'd be able to ask you the same question if we have enough time. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll keep it quick. I actually don't have that much to add, I think, because Shellie and Rick's answers were so good. You know, I would say that, you know, setbacks are going to happen to anyone, and you should be prepared that they will happen. It's a, you know, a fact of life. I don't want to glamorize them, because I think a lot of the challenges that people face are, you know, human-made and deeply unfair. But I do think that in many cases, if one makes it through a difficult period, knowing that one has done that, you know, becomes a reservoir of resilience for later on. Yeah, and I mean, I think the only other thing I'd add would be, you can be motivated by a number of things, but those that are external to you, I think, are unsustainable over the long period. If you give them money or status or prestige, like they'll fail you, and when you do get a setback, they'll be crushing. But if you have an inner set of values that sort of drive you, and that you can fall back on them when times get tough and rely on those internal motivations, I think that's a lot more. It's a lot more sustainable and durable as a prospect going forward.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. And so sorry, throughout this entire thing, my connection's been really bad, so I'm sorry that I've been popping in and out. But I have heard quite a bit, and honestly, I think that, yeah, like just once again, just coming back up and figuring out what you want is just incredibly important to actually being able to get back up, I suppose. Yeah, so that's really cool. Thank you. So I thank you all for coming onto the show. I do believe that we are moving on to a video by John Butler. And yeah, we have a video where Jack, I believe he's our CEO, if that hasn't changed. Jack catches up with a really, really cool musician, John Butler, who kind of like just tells him that, like, you know, like if you don't put in the hard work and if you don't try your best, then what's the point of trying in the first place? Which is really like a very strong way to think about it. Like, just get it in there, I suppose. Like, just try your hardest. So yeah, it sounds very interesting, and I believe we should have a look at that. Let's go.
I wanted to be in the armed forces and special forces for pretty much from the time I was 8 years old till the time I was 13, until I fell in love. And my girlfriend found my cubby house with my toy guns, and love overcame war. And then I graduated high school, got into uni for anthropology and fine arts, and discovered that I didn't like writing 10,000-page essays on art. I just wanted to make art, and all I really wanted to do was pay the rent and feed myself and support myself through doing what I loved. And I started busking on the streets, and the first time I busked on the streets I made like 30 bucks an hour, and the last time I made any money per hour I worked on a fruit picking farm for 9 bucks an hour. So I did that for the whole year of uni, and then at the end of the uni I left and I started the trio and kept on busking. And then there's this particular time around, I guess 1996, where I saw a lot of young activists putting life and limb on the line for a country and for the environment. I looked at me making my songs and making posters, and it was all very me, and I was like, me navel-gazing my career is not what's gonna happen. So there was this moment in time, a very personal moment, but I think a very important moment for me, where I was like, if I'm gonna do this music thing, and it's gonna be so kind of, at times it feels very self-indulgent, it needs to be for the betterment of community and the planet. The minute I made that decision, the horse bolted. You know, I've kind of been holding on really tight ever since. I've been touring for the last 20 years to get to, I guess, where I am here, right here now. My bus is downstairs and I'm about to gig, you know, over there. I'm here working because this is the best and most potent way I can bring positive change to my planet and to my communities.
What will be some of the lessons that you'll try and pass on to your kids and grandkids from your time on this journey of chasing a dream?
One is the physical and scientific side is what you put in, you get out. So you want something, be prepared to work for it, and work. I mean really work. And I'm quitting university to go be a muso. Sounds like a drop kick thing to do, but I've been working harder at this for the last 20 years than any other job I had. It was harder than fruit picking, that's for sure, and harder than all the laboring I did on construction sites. Hard work, 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 work. You get married, expect to work. You know, you want a career, if you don't want to work, don't bother dreaming. And I highly I will look at the camera and say this to you, like what you want, you be prepared to work for it, because if you're not, don't want it. Anything good is worth working for. So finding a purpose, an intention that's outside of your own world, that's not so self-centered, that seems like it's higher, and belief, and then hard work.
John, I'm glad you had that fork in the road moment in 1996, and I'm glad that you left uni and took that year and took the punt. And thank you for the journey that you've had, and thank you for being someone that stands up for something bigger. And thanks for joining us on AIM-TV, brother. That's it. Good on you. You're the man. See you guys.
Out of the darkness, only light can come. After a lonely, long night comes the sun. Out of the darkness, only light can come. After a lonely, long night comes the sun.
Honestly, I found that to be a very, very insightful video. I think that's very informative and very interesting to kind of see how even throughout uni, you see all of these things and you learn so much. And I get it, it's a university, that's kind of what it's meant to be. But even still, you learn so many things all throughout your life. And he does raise the point that throughout your life, you have to work, and you have to work. If you want to live, then that's what you got to do. So it kind of it definitely tells you that life isn't as easy as we want it to be, but sometimes that's not a bad thing either. It's really rewarding if you work. So I think it's very good. And I think Jack also did a really good job interviewing and stuff. I don't really do many interviews all that much, but I imagine he did a very, very good job. So I think that about wraps it up. Honestly, this is my second time hosting. I think I definitely did a lot better than my last time. I feel like I have improved quite a bit. Thank you. Good job to you too. So I definitely feel like today has been very insightful, especially with me being in year 11, almost about to graduate high school, and I'm hoping to go to university. Recently I've just been very kicked in the butt that, oh my God, I have to work hard and I have to actually up my game, and I have to take care of myself pretty soon. So yeah, just being reinforced that, hey, working hard is a part of life, and working hard gets you places is really good, not just for me, but I imagine for everyone else in our year level and everyone else in our school as well. So yeah, that's very, very important. I really like that. Speaking of really liking it, I feel like today has been really nice. Hosting has been really nice. Talking to the panel, Rick and Alan. Unfortunately, Shellie is not here at the moment, but that's okay. She is going on a drive, which is really cool. Almost going to get my car soon, which is nice. But yeah, it's been really fun having you guys on there. You're still here. I shouldn't say that. So it's been really fun. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being able to hear, especially with you two, hearing all about lore and all about how you've been able to adapt to life and how you've worked hard to get where you are today. Currently with quarantine, lockdowns in certain places and this whole virus thing, it has been difficult. So I do thank you so much for taking the time to actually be here with us today. It means a lot. Thank you so much. So not just that, but I also want to thank the viewers as well as the people who organized this. It's been very nice being on the show. It's been very nice being able to talk to all of you, to get questions in, and also to just be part of the show as well. So I believe that the next time this will be up is 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and we will see you then. Have a good day. Bye.